Yeah, welcome back. So quickly, I'll be calling on our third trainer in the person of Christiana Adeoye. She is an experienced business analyst. So please, with a clapping ovation, let's welcome her to take the third session, which is the last session for today. Christiana, please, you can take it up from here.
Thank you, Mercy. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to meet with every one of us. And I'm sure that we've been enjoying all the sessions, all the very insightful sessions from all our other seasoned trainers so far. And I believe that value has been added to us in several ways, not just one way or the other this time around. So just permit me to share my screen shortly. I hope I'm audible enough.
You're loud and clear.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So just confirm that you can see my screen.
Yes, we can. Please make it a presentation mode. Thank you.
Okay. Well, I can just zoom from here because sometimes it's distorted. Is it better?
Can go ahead. Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. So good afternoon, everyone, once again. So still proceeding on, business analysis. I'm sure that by now you already know what business analysis is all about. What we mean by business analysis, what does a business analyst do? You already know the functions, the importance of the business analyst for any organization. I'm sure by now you know the skills that you need to have to be a business analyst. By now, you should know some of the techniques, some of the methodologies that you should have as a business analyst, and for you to do your job effectively as one, or for you to say you're carrying out a business analysis activity for an organization or for a program or for a project. So still as understanding some of the techniques, some of the methods of carrying out business analysis. So a key one is making a business and financial case. It's a key skill that every business analyst should have. Making a business and financial case. So before we say we want to, we want to draft a business case for maybe an organization, you need to first of all understand what the project or what the organization is all about. So where do I start from? Okay, so we know that projects are a way through which we bring a change into an organization's processes. Maybe they have a way of doing things. Say for the CRM department, they have their way of okay, you carry this file from the clerk, from this table, move it to table 2, from table 2 to table 3. But along the line, you feel like, oh, these processes are not efficient enough. Fine, we've been following these processes all along, but it's not efficient enough. So we want to improve our processes. And I think 2 weeks ago, doctor taught us on business process, improvement and all of that. So you want to improve the process. Okay, how can we do it in such a way that we don't have to carry maybe paper, we don't have to do things manually, or we can skip some processes just to make it faster and more efficient? Save cost, save time, save the unnecessary back and forth. So we know that for you to carry out a business process improvement or optimization, there might have to be a project. Maybe you want to do an automation project that will help you to automate your processes so that you don't do them manually. So now you are trying to introduce a project to move your processes from manual to being automated. So a project is what comes to mind. Okay, that means let's carry out an automation process. So before you do that, you have maybe you have a group of people, you have your business analyst and a couple of people that need to work with you. And before you do this, there must have been a business case that must have been drafted to show why we want to carry out this project. Why do we need to move our processes from this way to this way? So a business case is a justification for why a change should be introduced. It's a justification for why we must um carry out maybe a change in our mode of doing things, of carrying out our processes in the organization. So you can have your business case alongside your financial case. So it involves all the decisions regarding the projects, all the investments that you need. So it's like a document that has been drafted to present a compelling argument to probably the executives or maybe the seniors, the stakeholders. You've told them, as a business analyst, you've approached the management of ABC company. You can't like, sir, this is the business case of why you should um automate the processes carried out in the CRM department. So it will explain very carefully what the benefits are. Why are we carrying out this project? We don't want to carry out project just because we are idle and then we feel like, oh, let's just get ourselves busy. Or the company has money and so yeah, let's spend their money for them. It's because there is a need. You know, as a business analyst, your function is that you are a change enabler. You bring about change. You find out what the needs are in an organization or in their processes, and then you try to profile a solution. And that solution is what will bring about the change in the activities. So this business case is like an argument or a justification for why we want to undergo this process. Why do we want to dedicate 6 months of our time just to drive this initiative? Why are we drafting this particular team members? Why? So that's what the business case does. It's a compelling argument for why a project should be pursued. And then it addresses what the cost should be, what the risks involved, what the benefits would be. Now, there's almost no project that does not have risks. Almost no project that has no risk. Now, the risk can vary. The likely risk could be, okay, maybe resources, in terms of resources, maybe financial resources, maybe intellectual resources. You don't have enough technical people that understand the technical know-how of how the process or the project should be carried out. So there are different risks. Then what if what if you implement the project and the people are unable to adopt the process? What if they are unable to adopt the technology that you even implemented for them? So you have to think about the risks and find a way of mitigating them. So this business case, it addresses it. So it's like a foresight into what could likely be the benefits that you derive, the likely benefits, the costs, because you must factor in the costs of how much the project would require before you even go about it. Because what if you get to the middle and you realize that it is beyond your capability as an organization? So the business case drafts out the costs, the risk, the and the strategic alignment with the organization's objectives. So it's not just good enough to know the benefit of carrying out or implementing a project or implementing a solution. It's not just enough. Does it align with the organization's objectives? Before you can finalize this, that means you must have done a background study of what the organization, what their mission, what their vision is, what are their objectives in the long term, in the short term, what are their objectives, what's their culture. So you need to have understood that part and then make sure that what you're trying to implement aligns, is going to be a fit for their organization's objectives, both short term and long term. So your business and financial case is a compelling argument. So it needs for you to understand, you must have a thorough understanding of the objectives and how it impacts the organization. Now, these impacts can be positive or negative. When you bring about a change, the change could be both ways. It could be both ways, positive and negative. Does it mean, okay, you're implementing the solution for them? That means they need to always be on power supply. What if there's no power supply? Will the technology still work? What if the person skilled in using, what if there's no person that is skilled in using that tool? Okay, what's the succession plan? Even if there is one person, what if the person leaves? So you need to have a thorough understanding of what the impact will be. Does it mean we have to cut down on our staff? Does it mean we need to cut down on our staff? Does it mean that we need to hire some more qualified hands? We need to know what the impact, the potential impact of the organization on the organization will be. So for this, you must have engagement, series of engagements with the stakeholders where you gather their requirements, you gather their objectives, what their expectations are. You need to understand what the expectations are. And along the line, your business case must be updated all through. So the business case is drafted even before the project begins at all. And it is reviewed and updated throughout the life cycle of that project. It is reviewed and updated throughout the life cycle of the project. So you must make a strong case. Otherwise, even if you have a good even if you have good intentions for what you want your project to deliver, if you cannot really present to them a compelling business or financial case, then they'll be like, why should I? Why am I implementing an EDMS solution? That's an electronic document management system, when I can always snap the documents. Maybe I can always use my phone camera to snap the documents, or we can always file the documents. So you need to be able to explain to them that, okay, the EDMS, is a solution where you can store your documents electronically on the cloud system. So even if there is a situation where there is a fire outbreak, there's nothing like you're losing your files. There's nothing like your system crashed, your phone crashed, so you lost your documents. But if they've been uploaded to the cloud system, it will address it. So you must be able to draft or write out a compelling business and financial case. And you must be able to explain what the impact will be on the organization. And for this to be done, you should know the clear goals. You should understand the clear goals and outcomes of that project and how it will influence the organization going forward. So you should be able to articulate the business needs, how it will improve the operational efficiency, how it will probably increase their market reach, make them more competitive out there, give them an edge, and how it will probably also enhance your customer satisfaction. So that's what your business and financial case does. Now, after you've drafted this, you've drafted what the benefits and all of that, the costs that you would incur is very important, it's very essential that you draft them, because many times cost is a big risk. Along the line, say you already budgeted, say maybe in naira, maybe 2 million naira should handle this project, and it's supposed to last you for like 6 months. Now, if you go and check the records, the dollar rate, and maybe you need to do some foreign exchange, the dollar rate between then and now, between maybe the first and the third month, is going to be, worlds apart. Have you put into consideration the likely effects of, maybe the exchange rates and all of this? Have you put all of this, your resources, all the expenses that you would require, maybe transportation for maybe the technical team, or maybe the intellectual resources? Do you even have the people that can adequately deploy this solution? So all of these costs must have been estimated in our business and financial case. Excuse me. So it will encompass all the all the likely expenses related to the project. But trust me. Most times there are some costs that you did not even maybe put into consideration that might even come into play. But at least you must have put an allowance, right? All the likely expenses that are related to the project. And so it will include maybe your initial investments, maybe maintenance costs, operational costs, other risks, other contingencies, that are required. So you need to also, so this cost should take care of all of those aspects. Should take care of all of those aspects. And so looking at the costs, the costs that are likely to be incurred, you should also think about, okay, so we are about to splurge maybe 5 million naira on this project. What's the long-term turnover for me? What's the return on investment for me? I mean, every businessman thinks about how to make profit at the end of the day from the project. It should be able to deliver value, and most times the value should also be monetary wise. Now, it might not be short term, you might not be able to get your returns maybe on a short term, but in the long term, eventually there should be a value that is being returned. So there should be financial metrics. A proper and thorough financial analysis must be done to be able to be sure or confirm that the return on investments, the payback period, all those things would make that project feasible or viable, so that we don't run into a loss at the end of the day. The goal of every project, of every business owner, is to make profits. Profits monetary wise, you want to make profits. So you should understand the costs that are going into this project and know the potential value that you're also going to get from this project. So it is important that all of this is captured in your business and financial case. So like I mentioned earlier, you should cover the risk assessment and mitigation strategies. You've identified the likely risks, then what are the parameters, what are the strategies you want to put in place to mitigate those risks, to make sure that you reduce their likelihood or their impact. Is either you're able to reduce the likelihood of it happening, or you reduce the impact, even if it happens. Like, say we have no control over the dollar rate, but then if this happens, what am I putting in place to ensure that it does not totally throw us off balance as a business? Because that's how a business person should think. And as a business analyst, you are supposed to be like um an advisor to a business. You are the one advising them, meaning you yourself, you must be abreast of all of the trends, the market trends. You should know all of these things so that you can give a good advice. Because if the product flops at the end of the day, or it does not deliver the value, it will come back to you. So your duty is to ensure that you're able to give them, a likely a suggestion or a solution to their business needs, which includes that you are ensuring that they don't lose money at the end of the day. Ensuring that they've not lost money at the end of the day. So all of this must have been captured in your business and financial case. So you've addressed the risks, you've also addressed the potential uncertainties that can affect or impede the project's success. And you should ensure that you are mitigating all of these risks. So it requires that you're proactive. Like, it's not when the dollar begins to rise that you know that there's problem. Before, like, you are able to, you should have these insights that you are able to, project. And that means you must have been studying a lot of trends to know, okay, what's the government policy saying? What are the regulations? What is CBN saying about this, and maybe about bank policy? Is it that, the whole country is going cashless in a few months' time? All of that. So you need to be abreast of all of this information so that you can give very helpful suggestions, to a business, and to ensure that the businessman investing in this project is not wasting his time and his money. employing you as a business analyst is because if he can do it by himself, then some people prefer that if they make the mistakes by themselves. But why are they employing you? Why are they paying you as a business analyst to be able to, give your own professional advice? But if at the end of the day the project still flops, then that is not that does not speak well. That does not speak well. So you must be able to address what the costs and benefits of the projects would be. So we have different categories of the cost and benefits. So for the tangible and intangible, tangible in sense of maybe things that you can see, things you can touch. You're talking about your assets, your physical assets, talk about maybe your machinery, you're talking about your tools, maybe your facility, your buildings, so your tangible resources. And then the intangible, maybe intellectual property or technology, maybe software that is on the cloud and all of that. So you want to see the returns, on the immediate and on the longer term. So there are different categories of the cost and benefits for your tangible and immediate. What are the likely what's the likely return on investment? For the intangible and the longer term, we want to know what the likely return on investment will be. So like I mentioned earlier, you've drafted your business case, and we know that projects are the means by which we introduce a change to an organization's processes or an organization's mode of carrying out the activities. So you are implementing a business change. So that's the process in which you are executing the suggested solutions. You've drafted out a compelling business case that this solution would reduce, would increase your customer satisfaction. Okay, if you used to produce 10 bags of pure water before, now you'll be able to produce 50 bags because it's not manually done. We have technology doing it for you. Maybe you have a machine that is now doing it. So it's increasing your turnover now. Okay. So you've drafted all of this in your business case. Now, we want to now execute all of these beautiful things that you've sold to the business owners, the actual carrying out of the activity. So you are executing the suggested solutions and recommendations to attain the desired goals and enhancements. It's not enough for you to have just drafted it. Ensuring that you're able to carry it out and reproduce these compelling arguments, this compelling justification that you've drafted, you've been able to buy them over with your business case. Now, how do you ensure that you're able to implement this change adequately, successfully, to attain their desired goals and enhancements to meet with your stakeholder expectations? Because trust me, as a business analyst, your duty is to satisfy your stakeholders. You should satisfy your stakeholders. You are meeting their expectations. You must meet the expectations. So this process now involves a lot of planning. You have to be strategic with your planning. You have to have an efficient execution. And you need to monitor it continuously to be sure that these changes, are, they're effective. To be sure that these changes are effective. So, there's a saying that he who fails to plan has already he who fails to plan has already planned to fail. So before you can even undergo this project, you need to have a very good plan. There must be a business plan that will guide you. There must be an actionable plan in terms of your steps, your timelines, your resource allocations, your what's it called? Your team, your delivery team as well. Oh, a project manager should be here, the quality assurance tester should be here, what's it called, front-end developer, back-end guy, a business analyst should be there. So the plan should adequately cover the timelines, the specific steps, or maybe the specific phases of the project. say we want to be releasing the project in phases. In phase one, we must make sure that for phase one, this must have been accomplished in phase one. Who are the people that you need to be able to complete this phase one? Okay. After the completion of phase one, phase two, what are the people that we need for the, what's the timeline? What are the things that we need for that? Are there contingencies? Does phase two depend on the success of phase one, or they can be running concurrently? So you need to have an actionable plan that would address all the areas, all the very important areas for the proposed changes. And then you assign your responsibilities to individuals or teams. Like your team should be set up, people that have expertise in what they do. So you have to have a well-structured plan that will guide the delivery team and then we can use it as a yardstick with your stakeholders. Oh, okay. For phase one, we said we're going to implement this, we're going to get it running to this point. So it's running to this point now. And then you use it as a blueprint, something that, oh, when you are reporting back to your stakeholders, you're like, okay, so in the first phase, we said we're going to accomplish this. Oh, we've been able to get 3 out of 5 running, you know. So the plan is what would guide the whole process. And for you to carry out a successful project, you should know that communication is key. Communication is key, and is one of effective communication at this. It's not just communication, effective communication, and it's one of the important skills that the BA should have. Like you should know how to carry people along, collaboration and communication for your team members and also for the stakeholders, for all the stakeholders, for the clients that you're serving. You must be able to have proper and effective communication with them, understand their needs, and also deliver the needs and express it back. You should be able to communicate your achievements, maybe your challenges, any restraints you have. You should be able to communicate it effectively. Let them be in the know. Effective communication. So effective communication and change management are very important during implementation. So okay, so out of the requirements, we already have maybe 10 functional requirements. Oh, the car should have 2 doors. It should have 2 doors, 4 tires, one engine. You should have one engine. You should have a dashboard. You should have an AC. All right. Let's say these are the requirements for the car, which is the project that you are building or you are developing. Now, if changes need to be made, how do you manage these changes? Who should you report these changes to? Who should give approval? You should have a proper change management. Is it that as a project manager, as a business analyst, I can decide that, oh, I can approve some changes. Oh, okay. The client said they needed maybe they wanted 4 doors. But based on the resources we have, or based on the model of the car that we're trying to build, just 2 doors would be necessary. Am I the one that gives the approval, or is it the business owner that should give that change for that approval for change requests? So you should be able to plan all of this effectively. It should be documented, and everybody should be on the same page. Am I audible? Hello?
Yes, you are.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, you are.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're very
All right, all right. So yes, effective communication and change management, should also be considered. Who should the reporting be done to? Who can make approvals for change? Your monitoring and evaluation is very important. Monitoring and evaluation. And before you can do your monitoring and evaluation, you must have some yardsticks. You must have your metrics for maybe quantitative or qualitative analysis. Oh, okay, the car should be able to move from here to here. Tick. Now, under what time? How many minutes will it take for it to move from point A to point B? the customer has requested that the car should be able to move from point A to point B in 10 minutes. But for now, the car can only move from point A to point B in 30 minutes. You need to have your yardsticks or your metrics by which you want to gauge your success or your achievements. So you must, for your monitoring and evaluation, you must be able to evaluate your progress so far, your accomplishments so far. So you want to track your progress and then know what changes need to be made. So you need to always regularly evaluate all of this so that you can make adjustments and refinements to suit your clients at the end of the day. So ensure that you are still trying to meet up with their objectives at the end of the day. All right. Okay. So still talking about the projects, we have the individual at the core of the environment for change space. We have the individual that will drive all of the changes. The individual is still the one that will drive the processes, that would still influence the organization as a whole. And don't forget that the external environment will plays its own role in terms of maybe the governmental rules and regulations and all of that. They could also impact maybe in Nigeria. We don't so for the car that you are building now, our cars are left, the steering is always on the left. So it would also guide the kind of car that you're building for your clients. If the driver, the business owners can say, oh, actually, I love cars that, are right wheels, it looks very unique and classic. But then that in Nigeria, it is not allowed. So the external environment will still guide, it will still limit you in such a way, in such a way that you still need to abide by the rules or the regulations in place. Banks they are bound by CBN rules and regulations. As much as they might have their desires and all of this, it's still confined to the regulations of the CBN that guides them. So the same way for almost every type of business, there is a body that guides. There is a standard that guides. So there's that external environment too that will still, guide the change. So you must also be aware. Imagine the business analyst or the person does not know that, oh, in Nigeria they will arrest you if your car is no, you have some explanations to make. Right. So you need to be aware of the rules and the regulations, you need to also know the organizational culture. Maybe the product they sell is not for people that are less than 18 years old. There has to be a way that you ensure that all your customers are not below that age. So you should be able to understand all the areas for that change, all the parties. Yeah. Okay, so in delivering the requirements, which is, very key, you should know how to transition from the planning to the execution, the implementation of the needs and objectives. So you should know how to transform the plans into tangible solutions. That's the work itself. You need to know how to transform all these documented requirements. I've written functional requirements. 1, the car should be blue. Functional requirement 2, the car should have 4 doors. Now, how do we now make sure that these blueprints that we have, maybe we even designed it already? Okay. Part of delivering that requirement is by probably drawing it out first. That's where some of our, what's it called? Some of our process flow diagrams come into play. It gives you an insight as to what we are trying to achieve. Oh, this is also when this file moves from point A, then B should approve it. Then from B, it should go to C. So you should be able to draw. That's why as a business analyst, you should be very vast with tools and so you can maybe make a blueprint, make a design of what it should look like before you start the development process. Before the programmer starts their coding and everything. So you must have designed it effectively. Now, from the design, they know that this car is not following my specifications. I'm seeing 5 doors. 5 doors. Ah, this is not meeting what I wanted. Or maybe the tires, is having 3 tires. You already know, before you go far, you already know that this is not going to give us the expected um solution or the expected result. So you should have your detailed specifications. You have to do a functional decomposition of your requirements, and you can do this with your, process diagrams. So you should be able to do it with your process requirements. So sorry, you should be able to do it with your diagrams. Your diagrams. Okay. So the sorry, I'm a little distracted. Okay. Yeah, so these specifications, they are like blueprints that will guide the developers, like I mentioned earlier. They will guide the developers on, okay, when we are building the car, maybe the automobile engineers, okay, from the diagram, they can see that, oh, these are 4 doors. So it's like a blueprint. So the same way too with our functional requirements. So whether it's a process develop improvements, a software development, or any project. So these specifications make it easy, for us to meet with the expectations of our clients. All right. Okay. So it also, we'll just be, pushing the narrative when we say that you need a lot of collaboration and communication between your stakeholders. Everybody must be on the same page. And as a BA, you are the one driving and facilitating most of this collaboration. You are the one facilitating most of this collaboration. So you must make sure that everybody understands what the requirements are and they know what their roles should be. They know what their roles should be so that there's no confusion. There is no confusion. Everybody knows what their expectations should be, what they are required to do. So quality assurance and testing are very integral components as well. So you need to have a quality person. You need to have a quality assurance and tester. So you need to have a quality assurance and tester, that would also validate or ensure that, yes, all of these specifications are being addressed. So we have talked about business analysts, of course, the developers, the programmers, maybe front end, back end, depending on what you're doing, quality assurance persons, your your testers, depending on the type of project. Anyways, your stakeholders will depend on the type of project. Some might not need all of this, but okay. So it depends on the type of project. All right. Now, another important aspect of it is our business feasibility study. Our business feasibility. I mean, you've drafted out your business case, you already have a plan, you already have your design already, but then you should also be very mindful of something. You want to address or be sure, you want to be sure that what we are even trying to build is what is the success rate? What is the success rate of this project? It might be a good plan, it might be a good idea, but then do they have the resources to, maintain this process? Let's even say we eventually implement the solution for them. Can they can they keep up with the subscription? Can they do they have people that would be able to adopt this process and would probably use the technology? You need to check for the what's it called, the feasibility. We want to know that the proposal will match the business objectives and strategy. So you are trying to know what the success rate will be. You want to know if it will be delivered in sufficient time. Maybe they need the solution. CBN has directed that all banks should have a software that they use for their money transfers or for their internal transfers in the bank at the end of 3 months, maybe in March. But now you're about to start a project that will span for 6 months. So the feasibility is not, that's not a feasible project. So the proposal must fit with the management structure of the organization. It must fit with the management structure. It must fit with the culture. So it must meet with their expectations in every ramification, in terms of their time, in terms of their specification, in terms of, their expectations. So do they have the infrastructure for so okay, they're trying to deploy a tool that must be, maybe it must be hosted on the cloud, but they don't even have any hosting platform. They don't even have any hosting platform, or they're not even ready for any of that. But then the solution needs to be, or maybe it is only peculiar, or it only work with maybe Azure. Say you want to deploy a Microsoft tool, which has to be hosted on the Azure server. But then they don't even have this Azure in place. So you need to know if it is suitable for them. It might be a good plan. Yes, they need this, but can they maintain it? Is it something that will fit into their structure, their culture, their facilities, or the physical infrastructure of the organization? So all of this can come in as risks, or what's it called? Limitations. It can come in as a constraint. So there's a business aspect of it, there's a technical aspect of it, there's a financial aspect of it. Is it a strategic fit? Does it meet the market conditions, the timelines? Is it a cultural fit? Is it an organizational fit? Does it meet with regulators, the rules and regulations? For the technical aspect, is it available, reliable? Is it something that people that won't be, what's it called, hacked into? Do they have enough security for that system, for that database that they're trying to deploy? Do they have security for it? Or is it that people's information will just get hacked into? So you need to know if it's a fit, if the proposal is fit, or if that project will be fit for their structure of what they have running currently. They don't have any cybersecurity tool currently in place, but then they want to build a database that will be taking people's maybe personal details. Then you should know that it will not be a proper fit. Then is it within budget? Are there funds available? And can it be borrowed? All of this should also be put into consideration. Okay, so this is just a pictorial view of what the project control system should be. So for the projects, we can see the key actors. We have the project manager, we have the team member, we have the program manager. So the project manager sets up the project, assigns resources, tracks the timelines, the progress in terms of their deliverables. Okay, and now there is also another actor, an external actor that is not necessarily a person. It could be a software, that's their finance system, that maybe provides invoice data. So they are all actors that are going to work together for this project system. Now the team member is, he has a team member is he will have a personal schedule, and then the program manager summarizes the projects, probably oversees a lot of projects, and this is not even only the only project that the program manager is concerned with. All right, now, so you've drafted your business case, you have your feasibility study reports. Okay, we've seen that yes, it's a fit, it will fit into the organizational structure and all of that. You have to now decide on the delivery approach. What is the approach of our project delivery going to be? What is it likely to be? So you need to, think about it in terms of the context and the techniques. Think about the life cycle of the project. Think about the approach, the roles, the deliverables. So all of this would guide the whole delivery of the project. Okay, so yeah, this is still speaking about the business case. The business case would, it defines what you're expecting, what the design should be, what the implementation approach should be, what the realization should be, you know, what the enterprise architecture should be, how all the processes should fit into each other, and what business environments you're working with. So we have the waterfall life cycle. So we have different project methodologies, for carrying out our projects. So we have the waterfall life cycle, we have the agile methodology. So the waterfall life cycle, we can see how it spirals down. It spirals down from one level to the other. And basically, um, it flows from the feasibility study, to the analysis, to the design, to the development, to the testing, to the implementation. All right. So we also have the agile delivery the agile methodology. We also have the agile methodology, where you have your plan, you design your plan, you design it, you develop it, you test it out, you deploy it, you review it. For the first sprint, it's divided into different iterations. That means you complete your agile methodology in iterations, in different phases. So when we are done with this phase, then we can now move on to the other. So it's very easy to spot, your limitations, to spot your challenges. Yeah. And then you're able to make corrections as fast as possible. Meanwhile, for the waterfall life cycle, everything has already been planned out and it flows all the way to the implementation. We don't know if there is an error in the middle, but then until after the implementation, before we can now say, oh, you've presented it and now the person, maybe the business owner will not decide, no, this was not what I was really expecting. Anyways, they have their pros and their cons, both of them. They have the different types of projects that they are best fit for. So as a BA, you need to understand the peculiarities of each project and you should be able to recommend what approach is best suitable. So for the deliverables now, deliverables are like your results, the expected outputs that you should present to maybe your clients. So they are tangible outputs or documents that are like result. They're like outputs from different phases or different stages of the analysis process. So your deliverables after your phase one of the project, or your initiation phase, your design phase, what are the results? What are the outputs? What do you have to show for it? You're telling your clients, oh yeah, we are done with phase one, but then what are the results? Show me something. So these are your deliverables. They are the tools for communication. They are the things that you've promised them that, okay, oh, this our plan aligns with what we are carrying out at the moment, so that your clients have a clear understanding of the progress of the project. They can see by themselves what you're already achieving. So some types of deliverables could be they could be documents, they could be designs, they could be diagrams, maybe process flow, it could be anything based on what has been documented in your plan. So they are majorly requirement documents, and so they actually outline the needs and the objectives of the project, and then you can now go ahead to diagram them using your tools, maybe on your BPMN tool, or um your wireframing tool, a design tool. You already have it in your document, but then you're also just making it look more appealing, and you make them envision it, you make them understand it from just for them to have an overview of what it looks like instead of reading through all the requirement documents. By all means, you must have drafted the requirements documents that must have clearly, succinctly outlined the needs and objectives of the project with the delivery studies, sorry, the feasibility studies. So yeah, our business process models, flow charts, they would depict the workflows, and then they will help in the process improvement efforts. So it will just outline, what has been documented. So they help, all this help in making informed decision making, a proper or adequate project planning and a successful implementation. Okay. So, this is just an example of a deliverables framework. Oh, this has been, broken down into a 7 months period. Okay, in the first month, we're defining the project, we're designing the project, we are designing the products, we are developing the products. Then the pre-beta, they're just stages of a particular project. And now for the products definition, what are the things that we're supposed to cover? What are the things that must have been taken care of? What are the deliverables for this phase? They can be highlighted. This is just a template. It could be anyhow depending on the type of project. Okay. All right. So, well, I mentioned initially that the business case is something that is usually drafted before the project begins, and then it is reviewed and updated even throughout the project life cycle. So before the resources are committed, before you must confirm your business case, even after the detailed requirements, ensure that your business case is still in line with what you are delivering, basically. And so this is a business benefits realization approach. So we've said many things in our business case. Oh, you need this so that you'll be able to handle A to Z. You need to implement the solution so that you make this activity less tasking for the users to make it more efficient. So now the benefit realization states that we have our business case. From the business case, you carry out the project, and then you review the benefits of the project along the line, and then you're able to draft what the benefit realization report is. And all along, you must identify the evaluation criteria before you can say, yes, this car that we are developing is really suitable or is really doing what we already expected it to do. Then it must have met with this criteria that must have been set out, and it could be qualitative, it could be quantitative, right? It could be based on the functionality, it could be based on the aesthetics, depending on, as it's meeting them, you'll be able to know how well, or the benefits that you are realizing from undergoing that project. So this is just a diagram that is showing the organization with the external environment, and there has to be a strategy. So for the organization, what do we need to do internally? What do we need to do internally to implement the strategy more effectively? Strategy is your, should I say, your plan, your methodology, and what should be your should I say, your actionable ideas. The actionable ideas are your strategy. So internally, what should we change? What do we need to do? What should be put in place for us to implement strategy more effectively? externally, what's happening in the outside world that can hinder the strategy. Like I mentioned, external factors. So we have the SWOT analysis that can be done internally. That's understanding your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Internally, what resources do we have? What technology do we have? What is our selling point? What are our strong areas? What are our weaknesses? What do we lack? It's just basically the opposite of what your strengths are. So what do we lack in terms of resources, in terms of technology, in terms of maybe our what don't we have as an organization? So internally, you check your SWOTs for your external environment. What is happening in the outside world based on your person, which is the political, your economical, social, technological, legal, and environmental. What are the things happening outside there? Of things like the rules and regulations that have been mentioned in earlier. So you want to know what are those things. So the strategy has to put in place or put in mind both the internal and the external limitations or conditions for you to draft a very effective strategy. For you to draft an effective strategy. So, finally on this, business analysis is an area that encompasses understanding your stakeholder needs. We can't overemphasize this fact. You must understand your stakeholder needs. You must understand their needs. You must be able to model the processes, document requirements, and you'll be able to craft persuasive business cases. So some people are able to do they're able to actually implement a project that will suit the organization, but they're not able to draft a compelling business case. So they would be missing out in a lot of opportunities. They'll be missing out on a lot of opportunities because it's not persuasive enough. You need to be persuasive. So also to also reemphasize the fact that effective communication and stakeholder engagement are very central to business analysis, and it fosters unity, it fosters understanding, it fosters collaboration among the different stakeholders. So there must be effective stakeholder engagements and communication. Everybody should know what is going on and should have the level of understanding of what is going on that they need, that concerns them. So business analysis is also about implementing recommended changes. I mean, it's not just about recommending the changes, but you're also implementing that recommended changes. It's not just for you to advise them on do this, do that. Also help them do it and do that to be able to achieve their goals and their objectives. And so it requires a lot of planning, a lot of evaluation, monitoring for you to say you've had a successful implementation. Then this would now empower the organizations to adapt, innovate, and thrive in a dynamic business landscape. So yes, that's is the end of what I have for us on our business and financial case. And I still need to go over a tool with us today. And the tool that we'll be working with is our Trello. So Trello is a tool. I know before now. Edith, I don't know if we should take questions and answers on what we've gone through right now, or we should just go right into the tool.
Please, let's
So,
take questions. I think you already have a question on the chat room. So let's take
okay,
questions. Yes, please.
okay. I'm looking through it. I'm looking through it. Uh, okay. I see one question here. Okay. So what's the difference between a business analyst and a product manager? Okay. Well, I think after all of these classes, by now, you should have a clear understanding what a business analyst is, or who a business analyst is. A business analyst is, a change enabler, is someone that helps to identify needs in a business, and then you prefer or recommend solutions that will bring about a change. A product manager basically has a product that is managing. So they are, well, in some organizations, some of these tools are usually intertwined. Some are intertwined, but I mean, by all means, they're different. So some product managers have a particular product, maybe software that they are in charge of. They manage that product, ensure that it's meeting the user's what's it called, the user's needs, ensuring that maybe in the development, any challenge on that product, they're able to meet it. Probably the developers make corrections, they just ensure that the product is suitable for the user. So that's what a project manager does. Is there a difference between a business case and a business requirement document? They are different too. They are different. So a business case is a justification for why these projects should be carried out. And then it lists out the risks, the benefits, the costs, and everything that is necessary. Every information that the stakeholders need to know about the project they're about to start. Meanwhile, the business requirement document is just stating, it's just basically highlighting what you require from, maybe whatever solution that you are trying to implement. So they are quite different. They're quite different. They're quite different. So a business case is more detailed actually, but the business requirement document is just it's just speaking about the requirements. The business case is handling a lot of aspects. Or what are the challenges that could be faced, what are the risks, what are the costs. The business requirement document is just straightforward. It must provide this under this condition, it must speak to this. So they are different, right? Oh, okay. You said your question is all these documents, which one comes before which? So, well, it still depends on the scale of the project anyways. But I think a business case is a good place to start from. A business case is a good place to start from. And I don't think it's cast in stone. I don't think it's cast in stone. What's it called? Your Many times is based on your discretion, but then you know that you need your business case at the beginning of your project, your BRD, your project initiation documents, they must all be, they must all they must all be available. They must all be available. Some people call their BRD documents maybe projects. I think some people use their BRD for PID. So it still somehow depends on the organization. It still depends on your discretion, right? I just think that for each project, you can also do some research and know which and which you want to use. But I think a business case is a non-negotiable. Your risk register. I don't think they're negotiables at all. So yes, these are I hope I'm not missing any other question because I'm not seeing any other one here. So anyways, let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up now. Thank you. And I hope you've learned one or two in today's class. So now let's go straight into our two. I hope I'm audible and I hope I've been able to answer you to some extent. Please. I hope I've been able to respond to your questions. Okay, so I'll be sharing a different screen just about now. Okay. All right. Um, can you see my screen? I hope you can see a different screen right now.
Yes, please.
Okay. Please, what can you see on my screen? Edith, what can you see on my screen currently? Oh, sorry, is that
Is
miss?
BA Trello class.
All right, thank you very much. So yes, we are going to treat a tool called Trello. Trello. Trello is a tool, is a collaboration tool that business analysts use, project managers use it. So you can use it to, you to track your projects. It could be your personal projects, maybe your work projects, and I think it's one of the easiest tools to use. If you ask me, I would say Trello is one of the easiest tools to use that anybody can pick up and start using at a go. So, I think I should drop the address, sorry, but I don't want us to be distracted right now. So just go to Trello.com to get started on this. But for now, I need us to pay attention. I need us to pay attention to, my screen for now. So this is my own Trello page. And it looks this way because I've had several boards open. I have several boards open. I have several workspaces over the course of several trainings that I've had in the past. So if you are just signing up on Trello.com, don't be surprised or don't be disappointed if you don't have the same view as I do. It should bring you to a Trello page, and this place might be blank. It might not necessarily look the way mine looks. So I have several workspaces, and I like to think of Trello workspace as your room or your office space or your library. I like to think of the workspace. So it's like your room, your office space. And inside this office space, we have boards. We have boards. We have maybe a whiteboard. We have several boards. So you can use this board to create several projects. You can use it to monitor several projects at the same time. Use it to monitor several projects at the same time. You can have several workspaces. So we have the free version. I'm on the free version, and you can see that I still have access to quite a number of workspaces. And I also have access to a number of boards. But I think there's a limitation of like maybe 10 boards per workspace. I think there is that limitation of like 10 boards. Yeah. So, but then I have several workspaces. So I can use any of my workspace. But for you, when you're creating a new, when you're starting afresh, you can create a workspace, you create a new workspace, and then you can create a board. So now I'm working under this workspace. Or which other one can I? I don't want to create a new workspace. So by these members, so okay, I think I've exhausted my collaborator limits on this one. This free workspace has reached 10 collaborator limits. So I don't think I want to use this. Okay, let me try it. Let me try this. But I don't think we even have so much time for us to actually collaborate on the same. Okay, this one has also reached a 10 collaborator limits. So anyways, let's not stress ourselves with that. So you can create a workspace where you can have several workspaces, and for each workspace, you can have several boards. That's the important thing. So for this workspace, I'm working on BA Trello class. I can open several boards. So like I said, your view might be different from mine because I have open boards already. I have open workspaces already. So I can add another board. That's if I've not reached my limits. Okay. So I can add more boards to this particular workspace. So I don't know what to call this. I don't know what to call this, but then let me just say transformation college projects. Transformation college college projects. All right. So I'm keeping it under this workspace, and then I can choose the visibility if I want it to be private, if I want it to be visible to only the members of this workspace, or if I want it to be public, so that anyone on the internet that gets the link would have access. Or is it only people that have joined the workspace that want to see? So let me just make my board public. So yes, people can. Oh, okay. This workspace is full as well. So let me just um let me use one that I know that's would not be okay. Yeah, I'm sure this one is okay. So let me create another board like I did before. Transformation college projects. I'll set my visibility to public. And then I want to now create, I've listed my board title. I've chosen which workspace I want to use, and then I've made my visibility public. So yes, this is my board. This is my board right now. And the title of this, so you can use it for different projects. So you can say, oh, the CRM implementation project, or the automation project, or the strategy something projects. So you can use this for different project areas. So that's why I said it's good for business analysts and project managers that are probably on several projects. You can also have your own personal itinerary listed out on your board, you know. But first of all, I don't even like this view. So I'm going to come to this right-hand side to change the background. If you like it, it's fine. But me, I prefer to work with something plain. So on my right hand side, let me close it so that you can see. Let me close it so you can see. If you go online, if you go on YouTube, you'll see several videos that will be helpful for you. So, but I promise you that if you sign up on Trello.com, if you've had an account before, you can sign in. If not, you just sign up afresh. I promise you that just playing around, you'll be able to find your way around it. So yeah, you come to this right hand side, these three dots. You can write a description about this board. You can write a description about this board so that anybody that views this board, maybe you've added people to this workspace or you've added people to this board, understand what we are doing on this transformation college. It is for uh, the project ongoing in the company, blah 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 blah, and then you save it. I don't think I'll or less than or whatever it's called. Is our go back button. It's our go back button. If I click on this, I'm closing the whole menu. But I don't want to close it. I just want to go back out. So you can choose photos from the internet. You can choose photos from the internet. And you can also choose plain colors. I prefer to work with a plain color. Yeah, I think I like this. So remember that we're using this our go back button. Yeah, we're using this our go back button. So now, what do I want to do on this our for some of us growing up, we had this whiteboard where people paste all these sticky notes where you have my to-do list. Some of us when we're in school, we have this our whiteboard. Oh, sorry, we have this our maybe our wardrobe or something where we put sticky notes. My to-do list for today. What I must achieve this month. So in Trello too, I have already explained that maybe we can make our workspace our office or a classroom. And then inside that classroom, we have our boards. Think of it as a whiteboard or you know, or a blackboard, something like that. And then on this board, you can now create lists. You can create lists. So first of all, let me say um ideas, or let me say starting a project for different phases of a project, starting a project. I will create another list by just clicking this blue, starting a project, or no, let me say planning a project. Let me say planning a project. Then I'll make another list and say maybe implementing a project, or implementing the project. Okay, another list, maybe reviewing requirements, maybe reviewing and validating of requirements, reviewing and validating of requirements. Let's just work with these three now. Sorry, what's happened? Yeah. So you need to like create another list so that what you are doing does not disappear. So for each of them now, I will now populate. So this is my list. Some people can just have it as their to-do list, doing list, done. Some people can have it as that. So what am I doing? Let me even use that example. Doing, done. To do, or my ideas. These are my ideas for this project that we're working on. Now, for this to do, what are the ideas that I have under it? Okay. I need to probably, maybe I need to visit the hospital. Okay, or visit a dentist. I need to visit a dentist. Get an appointment. Get an appointment. Get an appointment. Get an appointment. Read a book. Read a book. Work on my project. Be mindful that I'm just giving very random examples. For your personal schedules, your personal itinerary, your personal projects, you have more detailed information that you can work with. I'm giving very random examples, for maybe my personal life. Work on my projects, work on my personal projects. Okay, and finally get a nap. Get a nap. So yes, these are, the things that I've planned out for today, being the weekend. These are the things I'm supposed to do. So, like I said, it helps you to manage your projects. It helps you to see, what you are doing. Some of us, we get so overwhelmed when we are doing different, maybe you're on 3 projects, and then you get so distracted with 2, and you've forgotten one. But yeah, you're able to see which task is pending. So I did mention initially that you can add people, you can invite people to this workspace. Let me take that process back by one step. Members on the left, you can see members. So you can just just click on your plus button, and you can either manually type in their email address or create a link. If I say create a link, it has generated, it seems empty now, but it has generated the link that you can share with people. If I copy this link and paste it anywhere, anybody will be able to join this my workspace. So you can make people join your workspace, and you can make them join your board as well. You can make you can make people join your board. So I just showed us how to remember that I said your workspace is like a room or an office space. So coming to this area, we are on the workspace. Remember that we're on the workspace here. This Trello training is the workspace. This is where we add my members by clicking on that plus button. That's where I will add my members. I can invite my workspace members by copying the link or by typing out their email address, and they'll find themselves on my workspace. But now I'm going back to my board. I don't want people to see, as a project manager, or maybe I'm the owner of a business, I don't want people to see all the projects. I want them to just see the projects that concerns them. So yes, I'm working on the transformation college here. So I want to add them to this. So I'm coming to this share button here. So I can share okay, these are people that I have on this board. So I can share this board with a link, and people will just join. People can find themselves on it, right? So I can share that with people, and people will find themselves on my board, right? And so that way, several people can work on the same project together. You can, assign responsibilities. Say maybe working on this my personal project now. I'm not the only one to do this. I need one or two people. By the time I come to this, so I can put the description of what. So each card is clickable and expandable. Remember that your workspace is a room. You have your board. You have different lists to show different activities. And for each of these activities, you have subtasks under each of them. And under each of these subtasks, you can also add more information. You can add a description. Okay. My personal project is already at this stage, blah, 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 blah. You can write all of that. And then you can add members to this card. You can add members to this card, but these your members, they must be people on the board. You can either add people from the board or people on the workspace, people that are just on this workspace or on the board. So you can add them to the card. Another thing you can do is that you can assign labels. These labels, you can use it maybe to itemize which task is priority. Oh, this is very important. You can just use it to determine the level of priority, because you can filter. The beauty of this is that you can filter based on this color. So you can use it to mean that, red means priority, blah 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 blah, something like that. Or green means it is completed, right? Then for each of these particular things, now you can still have a checklist. You can have a checklist for each of these cards that you've created as well. So evaluation criteria for working on my personal projects. The criteria that must be satisfied before I can say yes, I've done enough. Criteria that must be satisfied. And then I can have a number of activities. I don't know why this network is displaying this at this moment. So we have we have like 5 minutes. Okay. Am I audible? Let me confirm that I'm audible.
Yes,
Hello?
you
All
are
right.
audible.
All right. So this thing is actually blocking what I want to do right now. Okay. Let me just scroll. Yes. So you can add a checklist of items. So for me to say that I've worked on my personal projects, maybe I must have spoken to my supervisor and speak to my supervisor. I must have edited. Must have edited. Recognize it. I must have edited. Excuse my supervisor edits my coursework. And I must have probably carried out um run an SPSS analysis. Run SPSS analysis. All right. So let's say these three items must have been satisfied for me to say I've worked on my personal project for today. Remember that is like an itinerary or like a list that of things that must be completed. So you can tick as you are completing them, you see that it's going to automatically just increase by itself the moment you are completing this task. And by the time I complete it, it reaches 100%. So that's not all that you can do on your Trello. You can add your checklist, you can add the due dates. So let's say for me to work on my personal project, I have a deadline. I'm working with a deadline. Today is 28th, by 22nd, which is Monday, is my deadline. 22nd Monday is my deadline. So I'm going to edit. Okay, yeah, that's 22nd. Yes, it has already highlighted it here. Maybe 12 p.m. Maybe 12 p.m. or 12 noon. 12 noon is the submission time, right? You can set your due date reminder. Oh, should this remind me 2 days before, 1 day before, 2 hours before, or I don't need any reminder. I'm effective enough to remember by myself. Or is it 15 minutes? It's going to alert you so you can save. You set your due date. You can also add attachments. You can add attachments. You can choose a file from your computer. You can choose a file from your computer. You can paste the link and all of that. So you can attach it, maybe a receipt, you know, anything that is just like a backup information. So you can attach a file from your laptop or from your computer. You can change your cover picture, which I don't think is necessary. And then there are custom fields. Custom fields in the sense that you want to set a rule. But then on the free trial, I don't have access to that. So I don't have access to that on the. But I promise you that even on this free version, there's a lot that you can accomplish, that you can achieve using this your Trello board. All right. You can also add power ups. By adding power ups, it means that there are some tools, there are some applications that are integrated that you can just attach, right? So, you can attach your Jira, your Google Drive. If I want to generate a PowerPoint, there's a way I can add my Google Drive. Let me add my Google Drive. If I want it to be able to pick up, to maybe translate all this my cards into Google Slides, I would have to select or add this my Google Drive. There are other integrations that you can do. You can configure your Gmail, your Microsoft Teams, and all of that. You can configure your Slack, right? If I had assign it, I can assign, I think I mentioned that we can assign tasks to members. Maybe for this editing of my coursework, there's somebody that's supposed to do it. So I can search from the board members or the workspace members who should be responsible for that activity. Who should be responsible for that activity. And then you can add your attachments, you can add your power-ups. And then since I've added my Google Drive, it's been displayed here. It's been displayed here. And another thing is that any activity that's carried out on the board or on this workspace, you'll be seeing the drop-down notification. Okay, so this is just displaying for the card. It's just displaying all the activities for the card. Oh, I set the card to be due on the 22nd of July. These are the activities that I have completed. So as a project manager, you see how you can easily track people's progress. You can see how you can track progress. As a business analyst, you can also see what has been completed, what is being completed by your, what's it called? By your others, your stakeholders, maybe the people you're working with anyways. All right. So, and there are also stickers that you can also play around with. So, okay, this person has completed their tasks. I can just drop that for them, all of that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and then you can export the card, export the list and all of that. So you can also filter. I think that's the last thing I want to speak about here. You can also filter based on maybe your due dates, maybe your members, or maybe by your labels. can filter by all of this so that you can pick up or find something fast, right? So these are just the basic things to know about using a Trello board, which is an effective collaboration or communication tool. We said effective communication with the stakeholders is very important. So you can use your Trello to itemize your activities, your project tasks. You can use it to itemize them, and then you can also use it to track your progress. You can, you can attach documents and all of this. You can add members, you can notify members that okay, oh, there's a task that is assigned to you. They'll get the notification in their mail, right? So these are just, some of the basic things that you can do with your Trello board. So any power up that is added will be listed up here. It will be listed up here. So yeah, and with this, I think I've come to the end of this class. So like I said, go to trello.com, sign up, sign in. If you've not, if you have an account already, and just play around your hands around with it, and just make your life easier, using your Trello board. Thank you very much, and I hope that you had good value for your time this Saturday afternoon. So at this point, I'm just going to hand over to Mercy to take it up from here. Thank you for your audience, everyone. I hope you enjoy your weekend. Bye
Thank
from
you
me.
so much. Thank you so much, Christiana. I don't know if you had a question here. Are you still there?
Yeah.
We'll take just that one question and then we call it a day. I don't know.
Okay, I'm just looking for it right now.
Okay.
Okay, how do I move tasks from the to-do list to do? Oh, sorry. I should have shown us that. So yes, so you can just slide them as easy as this. You visited your dentist. I'm doing it already. Okay, it has been completed. You can slide the activity that you have to do. Oh, it's something I'm doing already. I'm reading this book already, right? Can also move it to done. This has been completed. Sometimes, if we do not use this title, maybe implementing a solution. Let's say that was if it has been completed, so you can just move the whole thing over. So you can move a whole list. Let me take it back because it's going to disrupt what we are doing. So you can, I don't know if someone is trying to speak. Okay. All right. So you can just swipe them across. So I hope that brings some sort of clarification to your question. So it's very easy. It just is simple tap and drop, drag and drop, right? So, okay, I think I should take this one's back. Take this one's back. This is the one that has been completed. So we can move it here. So it makes more sense this way. So yes, I hope that answers our question. So is there any other one I need to check? All right. Thank you
No,
very much,
no.
everyone. Thank
All
you.
right.
All
Yeah.
right.
Thank you so much, Christiana. That was a beautiful presentation. Thank you so much. And I believe, just like she said, you've had value for your time today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Please, can we appreciate our trainer for today, for this last session? Thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. Okay, so finally, what I have to say, I'm still going to reiterate. I've said this earlier, and I'm still saying it again. Please, if you are on this call and you are yet to make your registration fee, please do so. Please do so, so you can graduate along with others. Okay? Please do so. And then if you are on the call, you've been attending other classes and you are yet to do your assessment, it's also a yardstick for you to graduate. Please do well too. do your assessment. It is very, very important. And for those of you who have done your ISO assessment, a mail was sent to the group for you to send all your ISO certificates to, so that we can have them on record. So please do so as well. If there is any other announcement, it will be communicated to us on the group. All materials will be shared as usual, all right, during the week. So do have for yourself a very beautiful weekend. And please follow us on all of our social media handles. We need your engagement. Subscribe to our YouTube channels, and that's it. Thank you so very much, and do have a very wonderful weekend. Bye for now.